This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay. So, dear friends, Nexus hardware. Probably in the demo session, you have gone through it. In this particular topic, we do discuss about Cisco Nexus hardware devices, which apparently during this particular course, we will be interacting with. And of course, during our CCIE, not only CCI, in our data center world, we would be using them. In this particular regard, we will be talking about Nexus 9000, 7000, 7700. Both of them, they belong to one single family called 7K family. Nexus 5000 and 2000. 2000 is not a switch, I told you. In the demo, I didn't take the complete session on Nexus hardware because it takes 2 days, ideally 2 days to complete it. This particular topic called Nexus 9000 understanding is very important for one of the most important topic and the most bandwidth consuming topic called ACI, application specific centric infrastructure. I'm sorry, application centric infrastructure. And whenever this topic comes, I always feel myself excited. The simple reason is every time there is a dynamism, there is a new addition in this particular topic. And so this topic currently in the industry from the point of view of the job is the highest, most demanding topic, application centric infrastructure. I have already discussed with you the chronology. Yes, this is going to be our second topic post completing our Nexus. All right. So we will start our Nexus hardware, and this Nexus hardware we are going to discuss with regards to Nexus 9K and with regards to Nexus 7K, because these are the Nexus switches which have a chassis, which come along with supervisor engine, which comes along with something beautiful called a fabric module and the line cards. Nexus 9K and 7K, they do have these components, but of course with different models. So we will be taking a look on the chassis, supervisor engine, fabric modules and line card. When it comes to Nexus chassis, we first of all will be diagnosing or dissecting Nexus 9000 chassis, because you know this is the most lovable chassis Cisco has ever built. Why? Architecture wise, we will be taking a look. Then of course, supervisor engine and fabric modules where they are placed. When it comes to Nexus 9000, for the purpose of application centric infrastructure, dear friends, they are two main models, 9500 and 9300. There is another model called 9200 and some other models probably are there. Those models, 9200 model, is not used for the purpose of application centric infrastructure. We need not go through it specifically because the configuration wise it is same. But Nexus 9500 and Nexus 9300 model, we really have to befriend with them, because these are the models which we will be using in our topic called application centric infrastructure. Now, with regards to Nexus 9500, we have got three different models only: 9504, 9508 and 9516 chassis. You can see the size. They are differentiated based on their size. And if the size is differentiating factor, so do the line cards in them. Line cards, we know that they are placed in front of the chassis. And then comes 9300 series chassis, 9300 series chassis. They are the fixed switches.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. There is one question actually.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay, so you said that 9508 and 9516 and 9504. They all are the one which is used for ACIs only, right?
No, predominantly for ACI. Some of their models can be used for NX OS also. But whenever we buy these chassis, we buy them for ACI purpose.
Okay, so
And it
they
is
would
because
also be same, right?
Mhm.
Have fabric and line cards and supervised engine and then chassis. So the functioning would be same, but the OS would be different, right?
Yes, they do not have in them NX OS. No, NX
Mhm.
OS is there in other models. They do not have. What they have is they have got ACI based operating system in them, right? So we will be looking at into those each and everything with regards to our application centric infrastructure topic in detail.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Vipin. Guys, just like this, in case if you feel to ask any question in between, please do interrupt me. The moment I'll hear a voice from your side, right, I will immediately stop. I will immediately pause to give you the bandwidth to speak. Please. And that too is very, very important when we are in our 5 a.m. class. Otherwise, unilateral communication will make you sleep. Okay, great. So 9300 JC, first and foremost important thing is 9300 series JC. They are the fixed JC. They are not the modular. They are not the line card based JC. What we can do is we can add in some of the models, we can add additional line card modules in the module slots available with them. In case if module slots are not available, then sorry, it's not possible. 9300 and 9500. Now, they are known as cloud scale switches. Probably you remember when it comes to these chassis and better understanding of these chassis, these models, we should ideally look at into their in and outs. So we should ideally look at into where these devices, these guys are placed in. Guys, this fabric module, when it comes to the our understanding of switches, we never heard of these fabric module concept ever before. So first of all,
Right.
quickly,
Even
let's take
I wanted to ask it. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Yes, you are right. We have never heard. I have never heard of this fabric module. What is the roles and how where it is fit, or is it as a logical application or a hardware actual hardware? So that's what I want to know.
absolutely. So first of all, let me quickly show you this. And to show you this, I need help from one of my friend, and his name is Cisco 3D Interactive Catalog. It is a processor consuming application available both in the form of desktop install as well as run online. If you want to download it, you can download. Otherwise, you can run this app directly on web. CX stands for Customer Experience, Product and Services Catalog. Thank you so much to Cisco for providing us this. We'll go to the product catalog. We'll go to the switches. We'll go to the Nexus 9000. And in Nexus 9000, we'll just slightly scroll down in the work pane and we will open a chassis, say 9508. Okay. Cisco Nexus 9508, dear friends, I would suggest you to please go through this particular Cisco 3D interactive catalog, get yourself interacted with the switches. Okay, so this is 9508, how it looks like. The description is mentioned over here. Now, if we look at into this particular switch from front, what do we see? We see there are 8 slots for the line card: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The last slot where there are 2 components placed, let's zoom it and bring it more close to each other. We can see that there are 2 supervisor engines with the model N9K Sup A and 9K Sup A. They are consuming one complete width, means 2 supervisor engines are consuming one width. They are called half blade supervisor engines. Just below them, what do we see is the 4 power supplies. The models, if you want to see, they are also mentioned over here as N9K pack 3000 watt B. This is the model number. Anyway, what we want now, we want to see the rear of this particular chassis. So we will go to the front view chassis fan tray remove. Okay, rear, where is, yeah, rear view. On the rear side of the chassis, just close this description. What do we see is the the fan modules. Horizontal fan modules having in one horizontal there are 1, 2, 3 fans, so total 9 fans. Why? Just below it we do see certain cards. I just click this location icon and it is mentioned as system controller. Fair enough, but we were looking for fabric modules. So where do we have fabric modules? We didn't see fabric module in front. We couldn't see fabric modules also in the rear of the chassis. So let us take a look. What is fabric module and where are they? If we remove our fan supplies, we do see certain modules placed and he is not allowing us to remove it. No worries, I'll show you. What is this fabric module? It is behind the chassis. What is their function? Guys, in order to understand what fabric module does and their function, pretty important for us to know something absolute basic. First of all, my paint, all right. These switches, Nexus 9000 and Nexus 7000 switches, we do call these switches as what? We call them as our dear fabric switches. So when we know what are switches, we have been working on. We have heard very frequently a term called fabric, but we have never heard a term called fabric switches. So let us look at into the term fabric. The term fabric stands for what? As in our daily life, we talk about, fabric. So what is a fabric? And I'm just drawing certain lines, horizontal lines. In our globe, we call them as latitudes. I'm just drawing certain vertical lines. In our world map, we call them as longitudes. Okay. But what is this? Guys, over here, we can see a sequence of horizontal lines and vertical lines. Don't you think this is nothing but this is called a fabric? Don't you think this is nothing but this is called weaving? Weaving of what? Weaving of strings. Yes, the horizontal and vertical weaving of strings gives us something which is called fabric. So what do we have in this? Suppose if we transpose this for the switches which we have, what are these horizontal lines? These horizontal lines are nothing but they are our line cards. And what are these vertical lines? These vertical lines are nothing but these are called the fabric modules. By the virtue of their connectivity, what do we feel like? We know that our line cards need to be connected to each other for the purpose of data plane communication. Earlier in Catalyst 6000 series switches, Cisco used to call a
Back
terminology
to
called
back
backplane capacity. This terminology we are not using in Nexus. Why? Because the connectivity between the line card, interconnectivity between the line card is not based on the chassis, not based on the SOAP. Now, we know very well that all these line cards, they need to be interconnected. So what happens is these devices, vertically placed devices, so-called fabric modules, they take the responsibility to interconnect the line cards. And not only to interconnect the line cards, but also to make sure that the supervisor engines are also connected. So we have seen in 9500 series chassis that supervisor engines are placed at bottom of the chassis, soup, and so fabric modules, besides connecting the line cards together, they are also connecting the line cards with the supervisor engine. These fabric modules, they are the intelligent modules having an ASIC chip, a programmed ASIC chip for the purpose, and that is called NFE, Network Forwarding Engine. Point number one. And dear friends, this particular interconnectivity between the line cards as credited to the fabric module, nothing but, you know what, it gives us this kind of structure. In this kind of structure, this brain of a human being is supervisor engine. The limbs, they are analogous to the line cards, and the spinal cord connected to the brain and connecting all the limbs are nothing but they're the fabric module. Guys, this particular gentleman is the most intelligent one, the best creation of God, and so Cisco decided to come over to the best creation of a switch, and consequently Nexus fabric switches came into the picture. I will say Nexus 9K is the evolution of the fabric switches, wherein Cisco has designed the best architecture. So with this understanding, it becomes quite clear to us that fabric modules need to be vertically placed. They need to be socketed with the line cards, also the supervisor engine. This this tells us that they do have the sockets. So guys, if you look at into the fabric modules over here, 4 fabric modules, they do have the sockets. Unfortunately, this diagram is not showing us, but in Nexus 7K, I will show you the sockets where the line card directly fits onto the fabric module, as well all the supervisor engines as well. I hope this is clear.
I have one question actually.
Please.
Shall I ask? Okay.
Why not?
Okay, so in I have seen 9K Nexus switches like placed in the traditional data center where the ACIs is not working. So if you can like,
Yes, as I was saying, Nexus 9200 series switches, right? There are so many models of Nexus switches. I have not uh, added them in this particular presentation, but there are so many models in Nexus 9000 which are basically NX OS model, NX OS based switches. They are also fabric switches, and they are very well placed in the data centers. But here our focus will be on Nexus 9500 and Nexus 9300, the switches which we will be using for our ACI. If you want me to take a deep dive into Nexus 9000 other models, I can do that also. Not now. I'm not ready for it. I will prepare very easy, but I would like you guys to take initiative. Find out the data sheet. Nexus 9000 all switches models, and we can discuss on it.
okay,
But
one
there
more
are
question.
not many models. Lot many questions are, lot many switches are there in Nexus 9000. Yes.
Yeah, one more question. So do we actually do any logical troubleshooting for fabrics modules as well, or it is just a hardware and hardware troubleshooting goes on and it is just performing its work by connecting earlier like the what backplane was doing, now this is called as a fabric. I at least could not see any difference between backplane and fabric. They both are like the connecting the whole chassis with each other. In
Okay.
routers they take it to the routing engine, now it is in switch it is taking to the supervising engine. I hope you got what I am trying to ask.
Yes, I'm getting it. So, as to your question about troubleshooting fabric module, no specific troubleshooting, but in case if you feel that your fabric module is not working, of course you have to raise a tag case with Cisco. Cisco has got a dedicated team which takes care inside of the fabric module. They do have certain specific commands. They can take a deep dive into the fabric module. They can see whether network forwarding engine is working or not. They can go till the chip level and can see it. So these kind of things are part of troubleshooting. And when it comes to a deep dive troubleshooting at a chip level troubleshooting and involving the programmers for it, it is all the onus is with Cisco tech team.
Right. Hardware they are keeping to their self only for deep troubleshooting.
Absolutely.
Like they need the
Otherwise,
tech and then they do the troubleshooting.
absolutely. Otherwise, if we'll start playing with the hardware, then definitely likely chances are there that we will create some catastrophe for ourselves. So they do keep these things in their hands, and it is definitely commendable. Okay, any other question, Vipin, or anybody else?
Yeah, the second part of the same question was backplane and fabric is same or is there any difference?
I'm coming to that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
I'm coming to that. So the question is, the backplane and the fabric, is it same or it is different? Guys, the very first and the foremost important thing is, in Nexus 9000, Cisco do not use the terminology called backplane. Instead of, Cisco says that, guys, we do not have even the mid plane in these switches. So very big question comes is, what is this backplane we were talking about specifically in Catalyst 60,000 6K switches? What is this mid plane? Guys, Cisco here in Nexus 9K first time removed all the modules, removed everything, and Cisco showed us a naked chassis, wherein Cisco categorically said that look at inside the chassis, it is absolutely blank, it is just an enclosure. We are not requesting the chassis to provide any line card interconnectivity. What does this mean, guys? In some of the chassis, if you look at into just think of how the line cards will be interconnected with. They must be interconnected through certain copper traces, through certain say copper traces or certain other cables, lines, etc. But in this particular chassis, if you remove all the line card supervisor engine, you will happen to see that a chassis is absolutely blank. For example, now let me tell you, I still remember Cat 6K chassis around 15 years back when I interacted with our marketing team. They said the price of this Cat 6K chassis in itself is around 20 lakhs. So I was just confused why the chassis only is so expensive. What is there exclusive in the chassis, guys? The exclusive part in the chassis Cat 6000 was this connectivity only, which they used to call as a backplane capacity. Of course, a backplane capacity was supervisor driven as well. But think of how supervisor engine will provide the backplane without having certain traces, certain connectivity patterns inside the chassis. But we will see that that was not at all the most advanced architecture. So Cisco, with regards to Nexus 9000, for the first time revealed this particular picture of absolutely a naked chassis, wherein the customers, they can easily decide that their chassis is absolutely blank and there is nothing inside. So this chassis provides the best power and cooling efficiency, designed for reliability, designed for future scale. Guys, these are the marketing. Okay, I'm not marketing this chassis, I'm just telling you the look and feel of this particular chassis, how the beautiful architecture this chassis has given us. And I hope, Vipin, this addresses your question as well.
Yeah, I got it completely now. Thank you.
Yeah, if you have more, if you require more granularity to this question, your questions, feel absolutely free. But this is very important point. And you browse it. I attempted to browse. I couldn't see Nexus 7000, any of the model chassis so openly. Even Cisco 3D interactive catalog doesn't allow us to remove all the line cards and see what is there inside the chassis. Okay, limitations. So as I was saying, Nexus 9500 series chassis, 9504, 9508, 9516. Dear friends, if you really are so much curious about knowing so detail about the chassis, the hardware, I would recommend you to please go to Cisco Live. You will find certain presentations and the videos and video presentation and certain PPTs about the complete details of these chassis. I would highly recommend you guys to open your account in Cisco Live as well as in Cisco D Cloud. Please use Cisco Live as much as you can see, as much as you can use, because it is really going to help you guys a lot. Okay, supervisor modules as used in Nexus 9500 series. SUP A, SUP A plus, B and B plus. They are absolutely all of them. They are half plate switches, supervisor engines. but they are differentiating based on their processor speed, DRAM, and SSDs. Depending upon your utility, you can talk to Cisco sales team and you can buy the supervisor engine as per your requirement. Now, they are all half width. That's what I was telling you. SUP A, SUP B, and something very important. Going back to our Cisco 3D interactive catalog, there is something below the fan trace, and the location icon says two system controllers. So let us see what is a system controller by removing one of them. Okay, he is not allowing us to remove. No worries. System controllers, guys, first of all, let's appreciate the placement of this. System controllers, where are they placed? I want a drawing tool. It is not allowing me. All right, no problem. So system controllers are placed rear of the chassis and at a bottom. System controllers, what are they for? By looking at into the placement, guys, can you tell me what do you think system controllers are meant for? What do you think system controllers are meant for? Okay. Anybody using MacBook? Okay, no problem. Guys, system controllers, they are actually meant to offload certain less important works of supervisor engine. Earlier or in other chassis, supervisor engines are also responsible to take care of, to monitor the temperature of the chassis, the functioning of the fan trace, the functioning of the power supplies. But guys, in Nexus 9000, Cisco has offloaded these less important tasks, not meant as a part of the control plane activity, to a device, to a card called system controller. So what do we see over here? System controllers are just the cards, cards with programmed ASIC chip entitled with the task of the device management, entitled with the task to look at into the power supplies, fan trace, the functioning of them, whether the power supply is functioning well, the temperature of the chassis, etc. So these jobs earlier or in other models, say Nexus 7K, these jobs are done by supervisor engine, but in Nexus 9500 series chassis, these less important jobs related to the chassis maintenance are given to this particular box. Look at into the placement of it. If we look at into the placement of supervisor engine, they are rear of the chassis and placed at the bottom of the chassis. And guys, if we look at into the placement of supervisor modules are placed. This is supervisor module, where supervisor module is placed front of the chassis, bottom of it. Don't you think that if we twist the chassis, then supervisor modules are going to be placed in a close proximity with the system controller? System controller is over here and supervisor modules are over here, both of them, they are bottom. So it means that the connectivity between them will be in a close proximity, and so system controller can easily offload the job of less important or device management, chassis management job of our supervisor engines. This is there only in our Nexus 9500 series chassis. Cisco introduced this for the first time. Hope this makes sense.
Console ports and out of band connectivity are from the controller modules or from the soup engines?
Okay, very good question. So without words, we can see. What do you see? What is written over here? Console,
Mhm.
right? This
Right.
is our console port, right? What do you see over here? This particular icon. Let me see if I can grab the pen. Why this GoToMeeting? Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, GoToMeeting, for allowing me. What do you see over here? This particular icon. Shoot. This icon here. This is the icon of your out of band management. OOB icon. So out of band management and console port, they are there in the supervisor engine. Nothing related to system control.
Uh, Again,
Mhm.
one maybe some stupid question. So why we have received like both the soup engine having the console port and OOB connectivity port? So the question is, do we in any case use two out of band connectivity? One console is
Ah,
enough.
absolutely. One console is enough. One supervisor engine is enough. So why do we have two supervisor engine?
No,
For the
no, two
purpose of,
supervisor engine is good for the like management, and if there is chassis is very
yes,
highly utilized, then they are very good. But out of a band connectivity is just to take the control of that chassis or that device
absolutely.
when
So
the front wheels are down. That's what my understanding.
one is active and other one is for the purpose of redundancy. What is the meaning of this? This means in case if one supervisor fails, we still should have access to the chassis, right? Both out of band management as well as the console connectivity. The chassis, of course, chassis control plane will not be impacted because of redundant supervisor engine, right? So our access to the chassis should not be impacted. And that is the reason we provide two console ports and two out of band management. Now here, Vipin, there is an hidden question in your question.
Mhm.
Can you ask
Yes.
a hidden question in this question of yours or anybody else?
Why
Because
the,
I'm
both are in active redundance? They can be active, right? Both the soup engine.
uh, both the supervisor engine can be active, that is right. But this is not a hidden question I was expecting, but this you are right, they are in active state. But they really do not need to. I'm not sure whether they share the load, which I believe they need not share the load. One can be active, one can be redundant. But the
Uh-huh.
hidden question which I'm expecting, you know, what is that? And the question, okay, let me ask you, since you didn't ask me the question. So let me ask you, since
Mhm.
we have got two out of band management interfaces, one is here and one is here, OOB.
Mhm.
Do we have separate management IPs configured on them? Does it have
That is another a good question, right?
management IP and huh?
Ideally, they should not actually, because they
Okay,
are taking to the same chassis only. If there are having two IPs, but if having two management IP is also a good idea.
okay. But what do you think? They do have or they don't have?
They should not actually, because that would be confusing. So
Absolutely.
one would be enough, and that should be rolling out from active to redundant and active to passive, and then the passive become active. Then it should, the management IP should be up there only. But if we are
You
taking
are
two uplink from service provider like a DSL link or some small link for out of band, then there should be different IP configuration happen on both the OOB.
That means if you have two different management networks,
Hmm.
is that what you mean?
Right.
It's as we that, yeah, if you have two different management networks, and for that you don't need to take two separate links from two separate service providers, you can create two different management networks. But that definitely will be confusing. That definitely is not required, because this movement between the supervisor engines, this movement of management IPs between the supervisor engine is what is being provided. So when the movement of the management IP can happen over the supervisor engine, why do we need two separate management IPs? The same management IP can easily move in between both the supervisor engines. So
Hmm.
you were right when you said ideally it should not be, and so this ideology Cisco has accepted.
Nice.
Right? Okay.
All right.
Another question, guys. Okay, fine, fair enough then. Feel absolutely free to ask the question in between. That gives me, a break also, wherein I can sip some water or something. All right, great. So it's good. So system controller also makes a very important sense to us. It is really a sensible organ of this particular architecture.
And
Then
they are saying
comes
that it is written there that system controller is also giving the OOB connectivity, EOBC, out of band channel.
EOBC, Ethernet out of band channel switch. So this Ethernet out of band channel is nothing but it is a connectivity between the system controller and the supervisor engine. So this is, when in hardware, whenever we use a term called channel, which I will be using uh, with regards to Nexus 7K as well. So this channel, Ethernet out of band channel, is nothing but it is an internal connectivity between system controller and the supervisor engine. 1 Gbps switch for intra-node control plane communication. That is what device management. And the nodes over here are what system controller and supervisor engine. Ethernet protocol channel switch, 1 Gbps switch for intranode data plane communication protocol packets. That is the information which it needs to send. Of course, we give a command show environment. So when we execute a command show environment, so from where who provides this information? This information is provided, is captured by supervisor engine from the system controller. So this requires the basic control plane and data plane communication between the system controller and the chassis.
Okay.
Okay, this is, as being mentioned over here, it is a central point of chassis control. So his main job is to maintain the chassis. Okay. Okay. Line card modules. There are different line card modules based on the speed. If you are not able to understand what is this, we will be having a detailed session, of course, tomorrow, to understand, to decipher the naming conventions so used in the line cards, wherein we will be looking at into what this P stands for, what this Q stands for, what this EX stands for, etc. So just we are trying to understand that there are different line cards available for our 9K chassis based on our requirement, the speed, the bandwidth we are looking for, the form factor we are looking for, we may go for different line cards. So detail of which are easily available on Cisco site. We can say line card data sheet for Nexus 9000. Google will help us to find out. Okay, so guys, this is for the first time, as I was saying, Cisco showed us absolutely a blank naked chassis, and of course in this particular diagram Cisco categorically said that fabric modules are vertical, they are placed rear of the chassis, line cards are placed horizontally, they are horizontal, and they are always placed in front of the chassis. This particular placement of line card and fabric module, it provides a direct connectivity, physical connectivity between the line cards and the fabric modules. Thus, you don't need any, forget about backplane, you don't need even any middleman for the purpose of connecting line cards. So they are directly connected. So these fabric modules, as I said, I'm going to show you. Yes, these fabric modules, they have programmed intelligent ASIC chip called network forwarding engine. So it is not just based on or dependent on the line rate. What is line rate? So normally earlier we used to use a term called line rate, means the communication between the line card used to be dependent just on the copper traces or any physical connectivity between the line cards. But over here, this communication between the line card is based on programmed intelligent ASIC chip called network forwarding engine. Depending on the size of Nexus 9500 series chassis, if the size is smaller, you require one single NFE engine. If it is 9508, you require two, 1 and 2. Otherwise, for 9516, 1, 2, 3, 4 programmed intelligent ASIC chips in your fabric module. And it is mentioned as up to 3.84 TVPS duplex per line card slot it is capable. What is this? Shortly we will be talking about this with regards to our Nexus 7000 as well. So guys, one thing I really want you to hold immediately: the placement of the line cards and the fabric module, wherein we discussed that line cards are front and they are horizontal. Fabric modules are rear and they are placed vertical. And be ready, you have to prove me wrong over here. Right. Okay. In Nexus 9300, as we were talking about ACI family, so there are few Nexus 9300 series switches which are designed for the purpose of being placed at the upper layer. I'm just trying to draw the architecture, the connectivity architecture as used in ACI. Normally, at this particular layer called the spine layer, in two-tier architecture of ACI fabric, we do place 9500 series switches. And this particular layer, we do place 9300 fabric switches, not 95, okay, but 9300. Okay. Just a second, guys. All right. Okay, but Cisco has manufactured couple of 9300 series switches being cheaper For some of the clients which are not going for a very large ACI fabric, who do not want a very high scalability, some switches for to be placed as Cisco ACI spine switches. Guys, just a second. All right, sorry guys. Okay, so 9300 spine switches. Otherwise, 9300 series switches are to be placed only at a leaf positions, not at the spine positions. Okay, 9336 PQ ACI baby spine switch, we do call it
You were
as.
talking about some horizontal and vertical in 9300. Fabric is vertical
Okay,
and
the
concept. Is it
9300
change in
switches,
9300?
9300 series switches are not the modular switches. They do not have separate line cards, fabric modules. The fabric module is built in the form of an ASIC chip on the main motherboard itself. They do not have a separate chassis, line card, fabric module, system controller. They do not have system controller even. Just like our normal switches that we have seen. You can see over here, they are the fixed slot switches. They are not the modular switches. They do not have the concept of horizontal line card and vertical fabric modules, since they do not have dedicated fabric modules.
Okay. There is one question coming to my mind, so if you can
Hmm.
allow.
Sure.
These 9500 chassis Nexus switches, Nexus OS switches, they are having a high capacity and they are like very dense in port. So if one line card may be having the 48 ports. So if we are having four, so we are getting 200 plus port in one chassis only. More than that in other models. So and in spine, this is the spine one layer where we place the 9500, and then we have the leaf layer. Let's suppose I have 20 leaf switches, so I need 40 cables. So what about the rest of remaining number of ports? They would be waste, I believe, or we can have some use of them. You know
Well,
that I'm just talking about the placement and actual utilization of complete hardware. If you can understand, like if I am able to
absolutely.
ask it correctly.
Your question is a beautiful and very much legit question. You know what? Cisco says in ACI, at the lower level where we say that leaf level, you know how many switches can you place? Cisco provides you a leverage depending on the version, a leverage to connect approximately 400 leaf switches to your spine switches. Why one should go for a higher model in ACI spine switch, say 9500, 9516? Why one should go for which one? Where is it? This particular switch,
Yeah, this
right?
giant
And
one.
it is so giant, right? Considering that one line card has got 48 ports, 48 multiplied by 9600. So these many. So, it is simply due to the fact that we Cisco provide more than 400 leaf switches to be connected to one spine switch. And that is the reason. So it depends upon how big fabric you are going for. You have the models available.
So in that case, can I say that the 19516 switch, Nexus switch, fabric switch, sorry, two Nexus 9516 switches can run a complete data center having almost like 40-50 spine switches or more than that?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. It can run the complete ACI fabric. Of course, Cisco recommends us to place two spine switches. Two spine 9516 can be connected to 400 leaf switches and can run the complete data center.
But I seen somewhere that they were using 4 spine switches. I don't know why, but if that can be achieved by 2.
All depends upon how big and how much connectivity do you want. Because the role of these spine switches is not only to connect with the leaf switches, but
Uh-huh.
their role is also to connect to IPN network, that is called inter-pod IP network. So which we will be coming across. So they require lot many ports. So don't worry, in this particular journey of ours, we will be discussing all those things. We will be talking about multi-pod, multi-site, how they are connected, their ports, and so many things are there. And when it comes to your practical journey, you will learn again so many things.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And okay, all this. All right. With these understanding and more definitely we can have, there is no limit to it. We just limit our understanding to whatever we have learned, keeping in our mind the concept of fabric, wherein line cards and fabric modules, right? We talk about the placement of the line card, the placement of fabric module. Once again, I repeat, line cards, as in 9500 we have seen, front and horizontal. Fabric modules, rear and vertical. They are both socketed together. Now, with this understanding, we have got to see 7000 series family, wherein we have got two different versions, 7700, which came later on, and Nexus 7000. In both the variants, we have got 4 models each. This is 7704. This is 7004. This is 7009. This is 7010, and this is 7018. Similarly, in 7700, we have got various models. Guys, very important thing, right? Now, in case of Catalyst 6500, we have gone through Nexus 7000. Catalyst 6500 series switches, we always used to call them as predominantly as backplane, as I was talking about. Fabric capacity is supervisor dependent. Over here, the fabric is not the right term they should use. Rather, the entire capacity of the line cards used to be dependent on the supervisor engine. How much throughput, how much maximum bandwidth they can throttle out was dependent on supervisor engine. That's why we used to call it as a backplane capacity. In 7000, In 9000, 9500, we don't call like this. Why? I told you. But important thing is, when it comes to understanding 7000, of course, we will be talking about the chassis, the input output module, the fabric module, and supervisor engine. But the most important thing to understand these chassis, we are coming shortly to that. Nexus 7000 and Nexus 7700. They are brothers from the same mother. Why? Because they both have the similar Nexus operating system concept, the similar functionality. They use the similar fabrics type and similar forwarding types. What is the difference? The question comes, very important question comes is, why Cisco evolved Nexus 7700 from 7000? Guys, this Cisco is not going to tell you. But this, you have to judge yourself why Cisco actually thought of moving from 7000 and 7700. Once explanation is done, you will get answer to your question. To this purpose, first of all, I want you guys to find out an odd apple in the bunch of so many apples. And so many apples are here. You have to find an odd apple out. Can you people tell me?
7702.
770? Which one?
Yeah, this
Okay.
one where your mouse is.
Okay, any reason
This is the odd
you
one.
are saying?
Reason because it is do not have the supervision redundancy and the rack space. Everybody is on the power of 7, like 7, 14, 21, and it is different. It is having 3 rack unit space, and then IOM slot is one only and no supervisor redundancy.
Okay, to hint you guys out, right, to find a correct answer, I just want to give you a small hint. The hint is, don't look at into this from the mind of a network engineer who knows so much. Just look at into from the mind of a child who is just in 5th standard. Then can you tell me which particular switch is an odd one? Okay, which, I repeat, which particular switch, I'm sorry, is odd one? Very close. Guys, don't you think this is an odd number?
Yeah, this is not running, and it should be 8 at least. Yeah, it should have 8 ports. Like Cisco usually give the 4 slot KC, then 8, then 12, then 16.
Right. And this switch model is ending with 9, and 9 is an odd number. We are now going to dissect this particular switch, and we are going to understand what is wrong in this particular switch, whether it really respects the concept of fabric. Is it really respecting, or it's not respecting, though this is called a fabric switch? Before that, in Nexus 7000, we have got 4 models: 7004, 009, 10, and 18. They are differentiating based on their styles. Now, to find out what is wrong in 7009 as against all the switches, we again take the help of our Cisco 3D interactive catalog. We'll go inside these switches and see them. First of all, Nexus 7000. Let us look at into the biggest of the chassis, 7018. Why it's taking so much time? These days, is it because of the speed? Why it's taking so much time to load? Okay, here it comes. Let us one by one remove front door. Oh wow, it is a glass door in the front. Wow, beautiful, huh? Never seen before. Let's remove one of the line card. F3. What is this F3? We will have a discussion on it. Okay, this is our F3 line card. Let us remove M2 series line card. Oh, front. It was M2 line card is front and placed horizontally. Beautiful. Let us remove the fabric module now. All the line cards are placed in front of the chassis and are placed horizontally. Fabric modules. One of the fabric module we just removed. Let us take a look on the sockets the fabric module has got. We can now see the fabric module was placed behind the chassis and it was placed vertically. This fabric module has got the sockets to directly insert it into the line cards. So beautiful. Point taken. Nexus 7000 7018 chassis is a beautiful chassis. Now let's go to 7010. It's a bit slow. Why so? All right. Now let's remove the line cards. First is F3. Wow, glass door. Wow, it's beautiful, huh? Glass door. What the heck was it? The line card came out from the chassis and we happen to see it was placed vertically. We are putting the line card back. It is vertically placed in front of the chassis. How about other line cards? Well, all the line cards are placed front and back of the chassis. How about the fabric module? Glass door closed. Rear horizontal. Fine. So this do not fulfill our understanding that line cards are horizontal front, fabric modules are rear and vertical. But still, this particular connectivity is providing a direct connectivity to the line cards and the fabric modules. All right. And if we go to our next model, 7009. It's taking time to load. Okay. If you see the placement of the line card, glass door, wow. Horizontally placed front of the chassis. Dude, you go back. Another line card, horizontally placed front of the chassis. And now we are going to look at into the fabric modules. Wow. Front of the chassis and that too in a horizontal state. Guys, don't you think this is quite weird? This do not suffice our requirement. Let me remove the glass door. Wow, glass door front opening and closing is so beautiful. Guys, let me tell you, I'm very sarcastic about it. I want my marker. Go to meeting, provide me. Don't irritate. Okay, so, okay, give me a highlighter. We observed that the line cards are placed front of the chassis, front, and they are placed horizontal. The fabric module also placed in front, and they are placed also horizontal. Think of the connectivity, fabric module to line card connectivity, which we happen to see with 9500. The most schematic connectivity says that this placement should be horizontal and vertical. This line card should be horizontal front, and it should be on the rear. This means, now coming back to the functionality of fabric module, the fabric module is not directly connected to this particular line card, is not directly socketed inside the line card. This means what do we need? This means we need to be dependent on the chassis for the purpose of their interconnectivity. So the fabric bandwidth is chassis dependent. So this means, what do we need? We need a mid plane, which is nothing but which are the traces inside the chassis, certain copper traces inside the chassis. So guys, and those are not going to be based on intelligent programmed ASIC chip known as NFEs, network forwarding engine. So ultimate impact on the data plane is inherent in such kind of architecture. Cisco realized this, and this chassis is EOL EOS chassis. End of life and end of sale. Cisco is no more selling this particular chassis. You cannot
You
get.
guys, end of support or end of sale?
It is end of support and end of sale both. End of support, I'm not, yes, it is also end of support. But please do cross check. I'm not in Cisco Tech.
No problem, sir. It's okay.
Because this period changes. But Cisco definitely declares when it is going to be end of sale and end of support. Okay. So normally this chassis is good when you have a test environment, not in the real production environment where you have to keep the chassis on for many years. I have seen in the data center chassis are up for 5 years and more than that. We cannot afford any kind of outage. Okay, this is one interesting point where we don't agree with Cisco. And another point, Nexus 7000 and chassis and the airflow. Guys, Cisco first time released this kind of picture, wherein Cisco categorically started explaining about the flow of the air. Around 8 years back, when I attended Nexus course, I remember my trainer was showing me this, and I was worried what the heck it is. Why airflow is going like this? It is absolutely unconventional. Not only unconventional airflow, but this kind of airflow is not going to provide the maximum cooling efficiency to the chassis. The first question comes is why this discrete airflow is there? Why is it so? Anybody, guys, can you tell me why Cisco is providing this kind of discrete airflow in 7000 series chassis? Cold air coming from bottom front, going out from rear front, or coming from side to side. Why is it so? Why not?
Ideally, the airflow is decided by the data center where it would be placed, because the data center is having front to back airflow or back to front airflow. According to that, the provider or vendors like Cisco or other Juniper provides the fans and their,
Okay.
if I know it,
Uh,
what I have seen actually.
okay. I have worked physically in the data center,
Mhm.
and per my experience, all the devices, they are placed, all the racks, in fact, in a data center, they are placed at an elevated platform, and the airflow in the inside the data center comes from the floor,
Bottom,
right? Yeah.
right.
Guys, the question, I come back to my question, where the question is why this discrete airflow? Why not the standard flow of air? You know, the simple reason is the glass doors. Such a stupid reason I'm telling you. The glass doors which are placed in front of the line cards with regards to these chassis.
So why they have
Because
placed the glass door? They should remove it or maybe give us some filtered one door.
glass doors are definitely removable. Cisco has provided this uh, flexibility, and no one in the data center with regards to Nexus 7000 switches are fixing these glass doors. Everywhere, if you go, you will see that the glass doors are removed because they will choke. They're supposed to choke the performance of the line cards. It's being experienced. And you know what? Consequently, Cisco came up with 7700 series chassis, not only because of this reason, that is the standard airflow, front, cold, rear, hot. And this is what we are seeing in 99.9% switches. It was just in 77,000 series that Cisco introduced the glass doors and the discrete airflow, which is definitely impacting the performance of the switches. If you put the glass doors, the heat, more heat will be generated. Cooling
Yeah,
efficiency will be
right
impacted,
there.
right?
So
Point
have
number one.
they
This,
removed, or like they are they still selling these glass doors chases? Seven, I believe they are 7,000 series, right?
they are 7,000. I don't think so. They are still selling, but still the chassis are available. In case I'm just giving you a heads up,
One
if
more
you
question.
are,
So can we
yes,
like, sorry to interrupt you, can we like form ACIs or ACI Nexus OS on these 7,000 series?
no,
No, they are the
uh,
traditional one.
yeah, just NX OS Nexus operating system is one which we can install. We cannot install ACI operating system
But we can
on these.
create those VXLAN and everything, right? These features also possible.
VXLAN, VXLAN on Nexus 7000, yes, can be created, but for that you require either F3 line cards or M3 line cards. I'll tell you about the line cards.
Okay.
VXLAN is line card dependent as well,
Mhm.
right? We will be
Right.
talking about that in details with regards to line card. So this is about Nexus 7700. The beauty of Nexus 7700 series chassis is if you go to, it does respect the placement of line cards and the fabric modules. all the line cards in these chassis, well, they have provided the grills in front, but customers, even they don't prefer placing these metallic grills. According to Cisco, it increases the ergonomics of the switches, but it impacts the cooling efficiency of the switch. So 7718, the good point in these 7700 series chassis is that the placement of the line cards, all the line cards are placed on front, and the fabric modules are placed on the rear and in a vertical position. Yes, you can see the fabric modules are rear of the chassis. They are in the vertical position, which provides them direct connectivity with the, see over here. Now, if you take a look, all these sockets, they are for the line card connectivity. But beautiful thing you can notice over here is the socket over here. Why the sockets over here are different? Anybody who can give a fair idea why the sockets over here are different? And I would like to help you out by showing you. Now, can you tell me why fabric module central sockets are of different type? By seeing this chassis, I'm giving
Due
you
to
the reason.
supervisor controller.
Absolutely, because the supervisor engines, half width supervisor engines are placed in mid of the chassis. So if you take a look on the fabric module, this particular part of the socket is for the supervisor engine connectivity. So the beauty of this particular chassis is the line cards, supervisor engines, they are connected directly with the help of fabric module having programmed intelligent ASIC chip called network forwarding engine. And that's all for today. Hardware understanding. Definitely we have to understand about line cards. We have to look at into the sizes of fabric modules and certain two important things of differences, that is in 7000, 7002, 7004 and 7704 chassis, where fabric modules are not available in the form of modules, but they are available in the form of ASIC chip, because the chassis, if you take a look, I would like to show you quickly. And then tomorrow we will be discussing about their internal architecture 7702, wherein we do not have visible fabric modules. So front view, if you remove it from the front, only one single line card and one single half width supervisor engine. If I take you to the rear view, expecting that we do have fabric module over here, no fabric module. So this particular 7702 and 7004, these two switches, they do not have fabric module. So guys, this is your question to find out what they have in case if they don't have the fabric module. Can we call them, still can we call them as fabric switches in the absence of fabric module or not? And that's all.
Can you repeat
For
your
today,
question, please, once again?
my question is 7702 do not have over here, you can see, do not have over here option to see the fabric module. And same, if I show you 7004 chassis,
They have it. We see in that.
Okay, 7004 chassis. Let's see if
One
they
line card
have.
and one line card and then one soup engine.
That is in case of
702.
77. In case of 7004, we can see front cover, we can remove it. And all right, front cover, front glass door. Supervisor engine, we can see this is our line card. This is another line card. We have got one slot, two slots, first two slot. Let me show you. For supervisor engine 1 and 2, then we have got two slots for the line cards, and let's see if we have got fabric module. No fabric module. You can go to the rear, there is no fabric module. So my question to you is, still, do they qualify to be called as fabric switches? And if yes, then what is there in lieu of the physically visible fabric modules? We will answer this question tomorrow.
Okay.
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 All right.
Sir, one thing I want to ask, a website ready हो गया है because ये recordings जब आप पढ़ा रहे होते हैं तो I am not able to make the notes. तो बाद में वीडियो देख के थोड़ा notes
ओके, मेरा बात हुआ था सैटरडे को भी मेरे डेवलपर से, एंड ही इज सेइंग बाय ट्यूसडे इट शुड बी रेडी. Actually, website is ready. The video tab in the website needs a lot of modification in terms of advanced things we are adding in terms of slots, in terms of booking availability, in terms of providing option for you to log in and book the slot of your choice. So that is requiring a lot of changes, modifications, enhancements. So those guys, programmers, they are working on it and would be ready in another couple of days. Couple of days means by this week.
In the site, all the videos will be uploaded.
I'm sorry, Ram.
On the site, once the site is ready, all the videos will be uploaded in the site, right? So whenever we want